Kidslife is proudly brought to you by Antler, the champions of lightweight luggage, Go Travel Products, and Gainsborough Photography Studio, Adelaide.
Hi and welcome to a brand new series of Kids Life, a parenting program that's specifically designed for Australian families. We're here at Gainsborough Studio in Adelaide, and a little bit later on we'll find out more about the studio and also have a chat about photographing babies. But first up, we're heading to northern Tasmania for the perfect getaway that the whole family will enjoy. If you're searching for a great place to base yourself on your next family holiday, then why not consider the Aspect Tamar Valley Resort just outside of Launceston. It's got welcoming accommodation, great value for money dining options and plenty of fun activities to keep the kids blissfully entertained. Finely manicured lawns, blooming gardens and Swiss-inspired buildings will have you feeling as though you've been whisked away to a rustic village in the Alps. The Aspect Tamar Valley Resort provides inviting accommodation in a range of chic suites, a stunning Grand Chateau hotel complex and immaculate hillside chalets. Ensuring copious amounts of space for the whole family and uncompromised privacy, the resort's spectacular alpine chalets are simply heavenly. The chalet can accommodate up to 7 guests, and inside you'll find full kitchen and dining facilities, relaxed lounge areas and plush bedrooms. The world-class resort also boasts superb on-site facilities to ensure endless hours of family fun and entertainment. The shopping square is the place where mum can indulge in some retail therapy with an extensive collection of fine arts and crafts available for purchase. A number of outlets, including a boutique chocolate shop, bakery, news agency and general store are also at your disposal. Well-equipped outdoor playgrounds, a huge interactive wooden pirate ship and fully equipped games room with the latest arcade titles are guaranteed to keep the young and young at heart happily occupied. Head out to the lake for some fun on the water by hiring a paddle boat or canoe, or feel free to spend a relaxing afternoon feeding the native ducks and swans. The kids are also sure to love playing a few rounds of mini golf and bouncing around on Tasmania's largest lakeside jumping pillow, while mum and dad enjoy some well-earned downtime at the on-site spa. An indoor heated swimming pool, state-of-the-art gymnasium and full-size outdoor tennis courts round out the resort's incomparable facilities. The Alpenrose Lakeside Bistro and Bar serves up a tasty array of internationally inspired cuisine that's sure to please all palates. The enchanting eatery is open for breakfast, lunch and dinner every day and even offers a convenient kids menu to keep those little tummies satisfied. Although most visitors to the resort are here for some family-friendly R&R, Aspect Tamar Valley also welcomes corporate guests and can cater for private functions, including grand-scale wedding receptions. So, for a family holiday with a difference, be sure to book a stay here at the Aspect Tamar Valley Resort. I guarantee the kids will be begging to return this time next year. And there's plenty to do here on the Sunshine Coast, and we've discovered feeding the dolphins with four-wheel drive eco tours. David, thank you for taking us down here
Thanks
today.
a lot.
And tell me about your tour.
Well, it involves coming up here to Tin Can Bay, where we're going to feed some dolphins in about 15 to 30 minutes. That involves just going knee deep into the water, just putting a fish and the dolphin will come up and take it away from you nice and gently.
Now it's pretty early in the morning here. What time do you start the tours?
It's a 6 o'clock start time. I know it's pretty early, but you have to be here at 8 o'clock.
The dolphins don't wait for us.
Nah, they don't. They definitely know to come here at 8 o'clock just to get fed, and then they back off.
What areas do you pick people up from?
I pick up between Caloundra and Noosa.
And Di, what sort of dolphins have we got here today?
Okay, we have 2 Indo-Pacific humpbacks here. We have a 17-year-old male and a 2-year-old offspring.
Gorgeous.
This boy here is 2.7 metres in length and weighs around about 180 kilos.
And this one?
This little one over here, she's only 2 metres in length and she'd only be about 90 kilos so far.
Wow. And you said they're endangered, is that right?
Rare and endangered. There's only 50 of these in our southern community and not sustainable in any way at this stage.
It's very sad.
Now they are river and estuarine dolphins. You're not going to see these dolphins out in the open ocean at all. The bay area here offers up exactly what they require, which is 18 to 20 metres. And this is a tidal creek they're in here now. Now this is the only pod that will come through the channel up there, down here into this tidal creek area. Now Mystique came into this cove and he stayed with us for 10 days. He was so badly injured, he was cut through to the spine. He lost part of his fluke and his dorsal there, as you can see, and the belly was opened up as well. Now he just floated in here, he couldn't swim properly and he was on the top of the water, which made him very, very vulnerable. And we were in the water around the clock with him for 10 days, nursing him back to health again. And he survived, as you can see, badly scarred, but once he was well enough, returned immediately back out there to where the pod was.
Now, you also do the coloured sands in the rainforest. Tell me about that.
Well, the coloured sands, there's about 70 different shades of colours around, and it's just amazing to see during different lights as well. And just driving along the beach, that's not an experience that many people have unless you own your own four-wheel drive. And the rainforest, it's spectacular anywhere in Australia. Just nice forests, different strangler figs, kauri pines.
Now, are all these activities fun things for the whole family to do?
Oh, definitely. Like the dolphin feeding, kids love it. Especially, well, unless the smaller ones, they normally scream and run away. But it's really good for the kids between 5 and 10. They just enjoy it, and if they want to, they can try and rush into the queue and try and grab another fish to feed it again.
Exactly. That sounds great. Well, it's almost feeding time now, so we should get to that.
Yeah.
Oh, she's beautiful. They're amazing creatures up close. They really are.
What's new in the world of travel? Check out these Go Travel products. Now, Keats, I like to be freshly pressed while I'm on holiday.
Believe it or not, Adam, so do I. And this great little iron here, it's a steam iron. The handle folds down flat, it only weighs half a kilo, and it can go anywhere in the world.
Fantastic. Now, what about organising your clothes in your bag?
Really important. No matter what the occasion, this separates ties, shirts from shoes, so you can be good to go at a moment's notice.
Fantastic. So you're pressed, you're organised. Now you're going to need something to hang it on. Look at this, 2 inflatable coat hangers. Never enough coat hangers in your hotel room, right?
That's true.
Not anymore.
You can find any of these products in any of the leading department stores like Myer or David Jones, or you can check them out online.
Kidslife! Steve is joining us from Gainsborough Studio. Now, Steve, today we're talking about photographing babies. Is there an ideal age to start photographing babies?
I think really ages vary. It depends on what parents would like to see. With me, I started with my little daughter was only a couple of days old, started taking photographs, and a lot of parents like to capture those early days with their little toes and fingers. Some parents want to then maybe leave it until then the child's sitting up. So there's different stages in a child's life that I think are really interesting, but as a parent you just really want to capture and not miss out on those special moments.
Yeah, definitely. And what about clothing? Is there a type of clothing you'd recommend for these photo shoots?
A lot of parents like to have things that are like bright colours and things like that, and can reflect a child's personality if they're really effervescent personality. I think also maybe take into consideration simple things, light colours, plains, avoid checks and avoid lots of stripes and things, because really I know from personal experience it's about your child, their beautiful eyes and their face and their little chubby fingers and everything, and sometimes a lot of the extra distractions can sort of take your eye away from the actual child, and you end up going, what a beautiful outfit, and forgetting about how gorgeous maybe the little one is.
And what advice would you give to parents when they're deciding where to take photos of their baby?
I think probably the most important thing, especially in the younger years, is to go somewhere where it's going to be calming for the child, where the child's going to feel safe and secure. In the studio here, we're able to produce a really calming environment. The parents can come in, they can be relaxed. It's not like a shopping centre where there's lots of people and distractions. We can take plenty of time to get to know the child and for them to be comfortable with us and maybe get over any shyness or anything like that.
Steve, thank you so much for that. We'll actually be revisiting this topic a little bit later in the show, and we'll have a chat about photographing babies in their own home. But next up, here's a cooking tip for mums and dads.
Okay, mums and dads, if you have a child who doesn't really like the taste of meat, we have some healthy alternatives for you today. First of all, we're going to start off with what we call, what's basically the vegetable nachos, or haystacks if you will. First, you'll need some corn chips, some cucumber, some tomato, lettuce, a little bit of avocado, as well as some Mexican beans and some refried beans and cheese to boot. Now, with the beans, we've got our Mexican beans here ready to go. We've got a little bit of refried beans for taste. You just want to mix that in with the beans as well. Now, this one's easy. All you got to do is just mix it around, smash it straight in the microwave for about 3 minutes, and then you're ready to serve. Okay. Ouch, that one is a little bit hot, so that means it's good to go. So a lot of people like their haystacks differently. This is the original way. This is the way that I like it anyway. So we're gonna grab our corn chips, just spread them out all over the plate. I like it a little messy. Sometimes you gotta lay the corn chips out so you can really get a good scoop. It's like a good dip. Think about nachos. Very similar to nachos, but a lot healthier alternative. Now add your beans as you like. And this is exactly how I like. Pour it all over it. Really get it in there. Now, cheese on top of that, because it's gonna melt deliciously all over the beans and the corn chips. Now for the salads. Just a little bit of lettuce, like so. A little bit of tomato, or a lot. A little bit of cucumber, and I don't recommend using your fingers for the avocado, but just whack a little bit of avocado on there. Avocado's actually got one of the best fats that your body could ever want in it. Now, just as quickly as I've prepared them, I'm gonna eat them. Moving on to dinner time, we've got something a little more substantial and filling for you. We've got the vegetable lasagna. Now, obviously, the things you're gonna need for this is your lasagna dish, as well as the sheets. We've got some mixed vegetables here, some cheese, and some casserole mince, which is actually a wheat-based mince. Now, also included to that, we're gonna need some pumpkin as well as some potatoes, which are actually boiling right now as we speak. You wanna get started on those ones first because they're gonna take about 20 minutes to do. The sauce is actually really only gonna take about 5-10 minutes tops. So we'll get started on the pumpkin and potato first, and we'll move on to the sauce next. Keeping with the healthy theme of the lasagna, running through the sauce, we want to try and have some organic products in there as well, which I highly recommend. Now we've got some basil and garlic, as well as some mushroom, and today I'm going to mix a little of both. Now here's a little tip to speed up the process of the actual cooking. I like to heat up the sauce first on the stove before whacking it in the oven. And and give that a nice stir. Now let that sit on the pot for about 10 minutes and just let it heat up. At the same time, you can just put your mixed veggies in the pot. Just heat them up a bit as well. Make sure they're nice and warm before you put them in the dish. This is the fun bit. Now we get to add our ingredients into our lasagna dish. So first of all, grab the sauce. Just give it a nice little layer, pour it in, smooth it over. You want to try and save some sauce for the second layer. Now we've got our vegetables here that we were cooking on the stove, the potato and pumpkin. Just grab a spoonful of them and just kind of stagger them around. Mix that in with a few peas and carrots, the mixed veggies. Now the key ingredient that we've got here is the cheese. You're definitely going to need a lot of cheese because that's the glue that holds the vegetable lasagna together. Before we start again with the second layer. So once again, get your lasagna sheets in there, nice and smooth. Pour your sauce on top, the rest of your fantastic organic sauce, and chunk up a little bit of vegetables. Now, once you've done that, straight in the oven for about half an hour and you will be good to go.
Now here's your chance to win a 3-piece set of Cyberlight luggage valued at over $800, courtesy of Antler, the champions of lightweight luggage, and $2,000 worth of all-natural, organic-rich luxury skincare products for mum and baby, courtesy of Aroma Baby. There's also a complete on-location or studio photography shoot, courtesy of Gainsborough, that also includes a 16-inch wall portrait art piece, a black stand-up folio, and 4 individual prints in white presentation mounts valued at over $1,100. Simply visit kidslifetv.com.au, enter your details and tell us in 25 words or less why you would like to win these fantastic prizes.
Kids Life. Now we're back with Vanessa from Gainsborough Studio. Vanessa, what advice can you give to parents about photographing their babies at home?
Well, the most important thing in photography is lighting first, so look for some nice door light or window light with the sun coming in for some nice soft filtered light, and will make the babies look absolutely beautiful. Second thing, if you can, try and get a second person there. It's really hard to photograph and focus a camera and get the kids smiling at the same time, so we always try and get 2 people in here if we can to get the kids nice and happy as well. If you're doing any photographs outdoors, try and get some nice shady spots so the kids aren't squinting, and you get the nice soft filtered light as well as you do if you're doing window light inside.
Wonderful, they're great tips. Thanks, Vanessa.
Not a problem.
Now we're moving on with some parenting advice from Michael Gross. Today we're talking about decision making in families with our resident guest Michael Gross. Thank you for joining us yet again.
Great to be here.
Now kids do tire of their parents making decisions for them eventually, don't they?
Yes, I think they should. I really think they should. The whole notion of raising kids is actually about making yourself redundant, and that's in all sorts of ways. And I guess ultimately as parents we actually want our kids to be making decisions for themselves, and I guess that's a state we call adulthood.
Yep.
So, you know, along the way we've actually got to be giving kids opportunities to make decisions for themselves. Yeah. I see the whole notion of decision making in families around 3 different areas. There are decisions which are parents to make. There are decisions which are, I guess, family decisions where we can sit down and have a bit of a yak because it impacts on all of us. And there are areas where kids should be able to make some decisions for themselves, even from a fairly early age. So I often see that motion of decision making as which area we're operating in. And as kids get older, it's less and less about parents making decisions and more about kids making decisions for themselves. Having said that, I think actually families operate very well as benign dictatorships or guided democracies.
Of course.
Sometimes we as families can think that we'll give kids lots of opportunities to make decisions and you decide. And kids aren't really all that comfortable with that. So we need to feel comfortable with the fact that we're family leaders, that we are not so much a boss in a controlling sense, but we're managing this whole group, this tribe, and we're the ones who are in charge, but we'll use a management approach which brings kids in and gives them opportunities to make decisions.
Yep.
And we've actually got to take in the age and stages of kids' development as well. So some children are a little bit too young to make certain decisions, so we've got to sort of counter that in. But I mentioned before about the 3 areas, and an area where children, even from a fairly early age, might make a few choices for themselves, maybe simply in what they're going to wear, on the food that they eat, how they spend their pocket money, the little areas which involve them. The areas where mum and dad need to be fairly firm and fairly confident enough to make decisions are, I guess, in the areas of schooling, in the areas of you need to turn up to family meal times, and all those sort of areas which pretty much fit into an adult notion. The notion of going out, the notion of you being safe, etc. And there's an area which I call family decision making, where maybe everyone has a bit of input, maybe over simple stuff such as family routines, for example, or we're having a bit of a trouble with the mess in the bathroom. What can we do about that? So you bring kids' input on board.
Definitely. And when kids are making decisions for themselves, or when they should be making decisions for themselves, when do parents, or what signs do they look for in their children when they should start backing off?
Yeah, really good point. One of them is often kids will let you know when they're ready because they'll actually ask you.
Okay.
They'll
be adult about it.
They'll let you know that I want to have a bit of a say in this. Sometimes it can be their misbehaviour. They can actually rebel to a degree, and that's a bit of a sign that they're ready to make a decision themselves. And sometimes it's just intuition. Sometimes it's looking ahead and saying, look, in some ways he's old enough to decide himself. An example of that was, and I don't know when this magically happened, but I know with bedtime in my own sort of household that when my kids were very young, below 5 or in early childhood, early primary schools, pretty much that was our decision to make when bedtime was. And then as they got a bit older, we sort of negotiate and started to talk about it, and we reached some little decisions that maybe you can stay up later on the weekends because of a certain show. So there was a bit of toing and froing.
Yep.
And even in early adolescence as well, we were pretty insistent that no, it's a little bit late to go to bed. You need to go to bed a bit earlier than what you think you are. So still some toing and froing. And suddenly at some stage, I cannot remember when this was, that we stopped actually saying it's time for bed. And I think that was around about when we got to the end of secondary school, when they started to really take responsibility for their own behaviour. They're fairly self-motivated school-wise. And so we actually stopped making decisions for them. We might have made suggestions, but in some ways I find the whole notion of decision making a little bit like having a rubber band around your wrist. As you grow, as you grow, the rubber band breaks and suddenly it's not there anymore.
Yep.
And so that's how I see the notion of making decisions. I guess there's another aspect as well, is if we allow kids to make a decision for themselves about maybe what they're wearing or about their own life, we need to be able to allow them to experience the consequence of a poor choice, because sometimes kids will choose poorly. And if they do make a poor choice, then we need to not rescue them, as sometimes we do, so that they learn, well, that wasn't a great idea. Next time I actually won't make the same decision, I'll decide in a different way. So decision making also involves the kids experiencing the outcomes of their poor choice and not rescuing them.
Do you think that's hard for parents to step back and watch their kids make mistakes and learn from them?
Yeah, it's very hard. It's very hard. I find that boys more than girls are what I call heuristic learners, who need to learn from the experience, and sometimes they need to find out for themselves. And a heuristic learner is someone who actually, mum might say, don't pat that dog, don't go near that dog, it's going to bark, it might be a bit dangerous. And a heuristic learner says, well, I hear you, mum, but I'm going to find out for myself.
Yeah.
And sometimes we need to allow kids to make some poor choices and to experience not so much the dog bite, but something which is, it might be they spend all their pocket money in the first day and they've got to wait 6 days. And we've advised them, we said, look, plan your spending. No, but I want to buy this. And we let them say, okay, buy that. And then we've got to let them perhaps experience the fact that I've got to wait another 6 days till I get my next lot of pocket money, or I've got to borrow it from somewhere else. Yeah. Don't go and rescue them and dip in and give them another lot, because on the one hand you're saying, here, make a decision. On the other hand, you're saying, well, I'll rescue you if you make a bad one.
Yeah.
So I guess that's common sense, and most parents are aware of that. But the whole notion of making decisions is we need to get the kids to practice making decisions, and sometimes the choices are going to be poor. So we as parents then actually need to be fairly supportive and in many ways join the dots together and let them know that bad choice and this is what happened. So next time maybe you choose differently.
Great. Thank you for joining us, Michael.
That's a pleasure.
Well, that's all we have for you this week on Kids Life. For more information, jump onto our website, kidslifetv.com.au, where you'll find segments from our show and so much more. It's bye from us here at Gainsborough Studio in Adelaide. We'll see you next week.